Hello and welcome
to Red, White, and Bi, episode 36.
I'm Ash.
And I'm Hannah. And today is a very special day. First of all, happy birthday to our special needs dog, Margot Louise. We love you.
We love you. She's 9 today. Happy birthday, Go. She's down here and I'm rubbing her neck so that she won't bark while we do this.
Yeah, so if there's a bark here or there, we're going to probably be a little lenient with her today because she's turning 9.
Yeah, we're just going to let her fly free.
Crazy little Gemini. Happy Juneteenth to those who celebrate.
Yes. We should talk about Juneteenth. Just a little.
Just a little, because it seems like everyone's on board with it, but no one really talks about what it is.
It was a couple years ago. I worked for a company that was going to give us the day off, and I started a new job on the day after because Juneteenth was, I think, a Monday, and so nobody worked, and I didn't start until Tuesday.
I found out this year that it's a bank holiday, so I got my check early from work, and also we didn't get mail today. I didn't realize it was at that level.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where, I feel like there are people who are annoyed that this is a holiday now, and I'm not going to be annoyed that it's a holiday if I don't know what it is, and I feel like I should research what it is and decide how I feel about it. So I watched, this little historical blurb on it on YouTube that was, from PBS, and I realized that it was some slaves in Texas being 2 years behind the emancipation. Technically, slaves were freed by the passing of the amendment in actually 84, and it was a year later so 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation and a year after the actual passage of the amendment, that these people were just not informed that they were free. And so, folks rode down to Texas and were like, hey, get out of here, guys, you're free. Slavery's illegal. And I thought, no, this is awesome. we should celebrate this. It's a shame that happened to them. It seems sad, bittersweet. But, it's a good thing that everyone was free.
Oh, for sure.
That there weren't any, men left behind anymore, or women.
Absolutely. And I see why you want to celebrate the last of the people to get the news finally got the news. And it is a good thing, obviously. I feel like it's a little strange to celebrate, to make that the holiday and not the passage of the Emancipation Proclamation, or whenever the date you were saying, where it was actually active. I think that should be celebrated at least the same.
Yeah, I almost feel
it almost feels like celebrating an injustice, and I realize it's not. It absolutely is not. But I don't know. I guess I just mean to say I'm still trying to wrap my head around it.
Yeah, I understand your point. The people were already supposed to be free, so amen that they're finally free, but to not know that you are, it's just
it's a shame. It's a real shame. It's a shameful fact about our country that here the government finally did the right thing, and it took them damn long enough. I can acknowledge that, but they finally did the right thing, and men are evil and did evil things, and now we have this exception, and even in spite of the government doing the right thing, these plantation owners and land owners were still being cruel.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what the day is.
Yeah. And I did notice, I decided to look up another couple of videos on it because I thought, what if I watch one from PBS and one from Fox News and just see, how they differ and what they talk about. But I thought, actually, what was more interesting were the comment sections. And someone on the PBS video pointed out that a point that no one really talks about was how these slave owners, this was obviously Texas, but throughout the South discouraged their slaves like knowing how to read. Mm-hmm. So it's like if a paper had come and said that the slaves were free,
they wouldn't know.
And they wouldn't know. And so it was just like different levels of abuse like throughout that system.
It's funny you say abuse, because it does kind of remind me of like things that you hear about. Obviously, like, slavery happened and people are educated about it, but in 2026 you see like all this stuff online about like gaslighting and abusive relationships, and you see that parallel of like control. And yeah, like you even control the spread of information. It's an interesting parallel.
Yeah, and it's funny because I know, like, Hannah and I have talked about watching a documentary possibly called Runaway Slave, and how all of these Black thought leaders throughout conservatism really compare stuff that happens in our current government system to things that were done to Black people under slavery and Jim Crow. And it was weird. I was driving today, and it's Juneteenth, so I'm just got all this stuff on the brain. Mm-hmm. And I was driving through an area near Detroit, and it did say, like, there was a yard sign that said Detroit Public Schools on it, but it said Detroit Public Schools, like, let's give them a hand. And so, like, as I got up to a stoplight, I just, like, wanted to read this yard sign a little bit better. Mm-hmm. And it was about volunteering to help combat low literacy rates in the Detroit public school system. Mm-hmm. And so it's like volunteer to be a tutor or donate. And I thought, why don't we just privatize it, and all of these nice tutors who are teaching kids to read anyway can get all the funding that the Detroit public schools get as they fail to teach these kids how to read every year.
It's like a monumentous issue that could have its own episode, right? Like the failing mm-hmm. school systems in our country, and how it disproportionately affects people of low income, and how that disproportionately affects people of color and minorities. And like, it could be its own episode. It might even be able to be its own show. But I think the surface takeaway, without getting into all the nitty gritty, the surface mm-hmm. takeaway is that, like, you shouldn't need people to volunteer their time for free.
Yeah.
To do something to supplement a service that we pay for. And you can sit here all day until you're blue in the face and say, like, support our teachers, and like more tax money should be going to schools, throw more money at the problem. And it's like, mm-hmm. fine, sure, maybe, but the fact is we pay for this service and we're not getting the service that we're paying for. So what do you do in any other situation where you give money to someone to perform a job and the job is not performed? You fire them.
Yeah.
In the only case where you don't see that is when the government is the person that you hired.
Yeah, and I always felt like a really good teacher that could use, like, just a chalkboard, like how, you know, teachers going way back used to use, like clay tablets, you know, like the best teachers. Like
a slate?
Yeah, the best teachers, they didn't need a lot, you know, like to get either a concept or like how to do basic math or mm-hmm. or you know, teach kids how to read. And to me, like, those people are worth a lot, and they're worthy of a lot of money, and you could probably have one great teacher make a great sum of money to really touch kids' lives in a really profound way. And instead you have teachers that are terrible, that are protected and just kind of hurting really other great teachers and hurting kids, even if that's not their intention. And it's just like a shame, because I feel like there's a lot of ways to reform it that would be much fairer to impoverished kids, minorities, you name it. And you would think that actually that Democrats, given, you know, what they say they're all about, being equality and just fairness, equity, that they would be the champions of this movement. And instead, you don't see that. And the biggest thing that I will probably throw this screen cap up for you guys that I saw that was weird today was I saw an article about the Southern Poverty Law Center. and all of the corruption that's going on. And I just typed Southern Poverty Law Center. And then there was a news article that was like from the Southern Poverty Law Center, like wishing everyone a happy Juneteenth. And it's like they're still trying to like pretend that they care about all these things as they were like funding KKK rallies.
I noticed that story went away real subtly and real graciously.
Mm-hmm.
But did we? I don't remember if we even talked about it on the show. But it was just
I think we did, yeah.
Like a straight up connection between the two. Like it's not even ambiguous or like open for interpretation, right? Like it's just they funded the KKK.
Yeah, and I swear, if we were more well known, like if you guys shared our podcast and like got us fans,
all for you.
Yeah, I would. And actually, we're getting lots of views on YouTube, so thanks, you guys.
It's so fun to joke.
If we had more viewers, I would love to have Dr. Carol Swain from Vanderbilt University come on our podcast and talk about the conspiracy of the Big Switch herself. But if you are bored and you want to learn more about it, you should just Google Dr. Carol Swain and Big Switch and watch her video from Prager University. It's good stuff. So we kind of got into the weeds there, but it's just felt like topical.
Yeah, definitely. Being Juneteenth and being Margot's birthday.
Yeah. And my aunt Anita's birthday. Happy birthday, Aunt Anita.
Happy birthday, Aunt Anita. Enjoy. A lot of Geminis in your life.
Yeah, and you know what's funny is I don't want to throw any shade at my Aunt Anita because she's like super sweet. Margot's not sweet. She's a really mean dog, actually.
It's the Chihuahua.
She's got some Chihuahua in her.
She's pretty mean.
But I thought all of this weird back and forth, which we're going to talk about this Memorandum of Understanding and Trump's Iran deal. But the back and forth that we've seen from him over this past week has, I think, aggravated my ulcers. And
that's interesting that you bring that up. It is truly Gemini in nature.
Yes.
It is bizarrely Jekyll and Hyde. Like to the point where, and listen, fair is fair. I definitely we talked about how much we questioned Biden's lucidity. Is that the word I want? Like his saliency. I feel like Trump has me a little worried this week. He's bonkers.
He's going all over the place. And I realized, I knew his birthday was Flag Day.
Oh my God, he is a Gemini. Jesus Christ.
Yes. And as it came up, I was like, fucking Gemini.
Fucking President Gemini.
I will say, for whatever reason, I have a lot of early Geminis on my friends list that I didn't know were Gemini, and they seem pretty sweet. Like, if they're, pretty early in the sign, and the ones that are close to being Cancers are fucking crazy.
Is your girlfriend an early Gemini?
My girlfriend?
You know who I mean.
Lana?
Oh, no, she's the 20... You did? You totally do.
Lana's a Cancer.
She's the 21st, though? Right?
Yeah, just.
It's so weird that it's off topic. I know so many people on the 21st, but you're saying early Geminis. You have a lot of nice...
I think they are kind people. Like, I don't really see a lot of evil tone there.
They got more of the good mix.
But I think once you get to, past the middle of the month, like Margot, and then, late Gemini... They're nuts.
I have full confidence that this person does not listen, but I had a good friend who is early June, definitely the first third of June, who is obviously a Gemini, and this person is nuts. Absolutely nuts. Yeah.
Okay, I knew who it was. I mouthed it to her. I didn't want to put it out there. But
exceptions to every rule, I guess.
Yeah, and maybe that's just people are people, and zodiac signs are wackadoo, and maybe don't mean that much.
Hey, man, I study genetics, and I believe in the zodiac.
Hannah and I are both Cancers, and we love eating, and we're sweet, I would say.
We're both Cancers, and we were born under, listen, our birthdays are what, I think...
2 weeks apart.
No, it's 18 days.
And it's the same moon.
So we were born under the same night sky in the same phase of the moon, because we looked it up today, and I teared up about it. And that's what Cancers are. We have snacks and we cry.
Yeah, it's very hearth and home and emotional sweet stuff and food sweet stuff.
I feel like I finally met somebody who is as mushy as I am and is not scared by all my feelings.
I think I'm mushier than you.
Well, you definitely are. For once in my life, I feel like a stoic, and thank you for the gift of feeling like not the one out of control.
I just send Hannah every love song, and I'm like, this reminds me of you.
We have one, which I don't know if we should even name it or not, but like, I can't, if it comes on my shuffle in the car, I have to switch it because I can't drive and weep that hard at the same time.
Is it My Woman, My Woman, My Wife yes, by Marty Robbins? Yes, that makes me cry every time.
Sob, like just gripping the steering wheel and sobbing.
So, that said, the Memorandum of Understanding. So, there's been all this controversy because if you remember the Obama nuclear deal, we have to kind of put this side by side with this new Trump deal. Two things that we might want to talk about first. Why did we say that we were gonna even tussle with Iran? Two reasons.
Because of the way they were treating their people?
That's one.
And because they were like 99% to a nuclear bomb.
So, and here's the thing. People are...
Did I pass the test?
Yes, of course. And people are like, they're gaslighting us, is my opinion.
Okay.
Because they're saying that the whole reason we did this was so that Iran wouldn't have a nuke. That's fair, right? Mm-hmm. But you also had tweets from the president that people have screen capped, that they've shared, that all of us saw when they first came out from Truth Social and you name it. Keep marching. Help's on the way.
Mm-hmm. It turns my stomach to think about.
Yeah, so...
I remember making that episode with you too, and like we got emotional about it. Like these people were begging for freedom, begging for help, begging to have the human right to live their life the way they saw fit.
Yeah.
And what is more American than that? They were addressing us personally, and they deserved our help.
Yeah, and I think if I could revamp government, and Hannah knows how much I want to, government would have a very simple role, and the only federal spending that we would have would be all toward military. Mm-hmm. And it would be a reasonable budget. We'd still be the strongest military power in the world, but it wouldn't be wasteful. But I do think that if there were real genocides going on, Nigeria, Syria, and in Iran, we would do something to help these people. Because I think on a human rights level, you know, I'm not one to say that we should always go around policing the world. But in extreme cases, I think you're just as bad to just let people suffer and be murdered by what I would call an evil regime.
And I think the internet has played an interesting role in that whole thing where it's like now regular people have the power to address you directly, and they have for a while, mm-hmm. right? Like this isn't brand new, but a lot of times when you see people in these desperate situations, they don't have internet access, like North Korea or something like that. But in this case, they were addressing our government directly. Yeah. Like, this is exactly what's happening in my life. You need to come and help us. And like, it's so, like I said, it just turns my stomach. We owed them that if we are anything like we profess to be.
And there were suicides, and now there are people on the ground there because the internet is like partially up saying it's just going to increase because all these people had so much hope that we were coming, and now
that they came out of the woodwork, and they identified themselves and they made bold actions and statements that will get them killed, and sooner rather than later. And
so you have a deal being made with a terrorist regime, a designated enemy of the United States, designated terrorist. And I thought there was a time that we agreed we're not going to negotiate with terrorists, but that seems like between Trump and Biden and Obama, they've just done away with that.
It's like doublespeak. Like the minute you make a bold, simple statement like that, mm-hmm. That's how you know somebody's doing the exact opposite. We will not negotiate with terrorists means we're already doing it.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's a different show I listened to, and they were the first to bring that up, and it's like, it's true. I started to notice that all the time. You say something like, oh man, I hate a guy you're dating says, oh, I hate cheaters.
The bold statements, the lie.
Yeah, you found a cheater, or like, you know, you could apply it to a lot of things, but.
Yeah. So you take the original Obama deal, and I feel like there's some discrepancies in how much we're told was given, you know, from like $1.4 billion to 14, you know, depending on who you ask. But I remember Ted Cruz specifically saying that these pallets of cash, none of this went through Congress.
Pallets of cash.
$4 billion given to what he called at the time the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. And he wasn't wrong. And I, at the time, like, everybody hyper-focused on the fact that Roseanne called Valerie Jarrett, like, said she looked like a monkey or something, because she didn't realize that the lady was Iranian, not black, Iranian. But she said she thought the bitch was white. Everybody focused on that. But I was like, no, Roseanne Barr hates this woman because she thinks, you know, Obama's this lady's puppet, and she's an Iranian, and maybe this deal doesn't happen without her. Like, Obama was a junior senator. Maybe, you know, he's a Manchurian candidate. But at the time, I thought, whether he knows what he's doing or not, the guy's committing treason. Like, this shouldn't be happening. We shouldn't be giving an enemy direct aid. But now we have Trump doing the same thing, and with a lot more money.
And exponentially so.
Yeah. And so here's the big thing that's happening this week. Like Hannah points out, the guy's very mercurial, like a Gemini. Mm-hmm. As soon as this hits, the deal's details are not immediately public. In fact, there were members of Congress demanding to know what is in it. And it reminded me a lot of Obamacare, like Nancy Pelosi saying, like, the bill was too big to read, and then we have to pass it so we can find out what's in it. But in this case, we're not even going through Congress, and Congress does have the power of the purse. Lindsey Graham, of all people, who's been very, like, MAGA, he demands to know what is in this. And I commend him for that, even though I don't always obviously see eye to eye with Lindsey Graham. Once the details come out, and it was pretty interesting, just prior to this, Vance goes on television and announces this number, $300 billion. And shortly thereafter, see Margot's barking for her birthday. Shortly thereafter, he says that that's a made-up number. And then Trump says...
Vance himself says it's made up?
He said it's made up after he said it on TV.
Okay.
And then...
He's such a dick.
Yes.
He's such a noob. Like, he's never had an office like this before.
It gets worse.
But wait, there's more.
Wait, there's more, right? So he tries to walk it back, saying it's a made-up number. Trump says the same thing, like they got a talking point. Made-up number. Okay? And then... originally, I heard 25 billion, and then they're both like, oh, you hear 25 billion, you hear 300. They're all made up. So
just tell us the goddamn number.
Here's the thing. Congress demands to know what it is. Point 6, from Fox News, a friendly $300 billion from Gulf states and the United States. The White House, even though the details are now public, tries to say that this is not true.
Ooh.
So they post from Hannah's favorite blue check page, the White House.
That thing is wild.
That it's a lie. And X community notes it, that the White House is lying.
Oh my God.
And then additionally, Tom Massey, I will give him this, okay? So he was going after Israel, and I was worried about him with...
Yeah, we talked about it last episode.
Yeah, I was worried about him with Islamic influences, but $300 billion is a big number. So he says we are absolutely putting up most of this money, just like we would in the UN and in any other thing that we fund, NATO. And the White House calls him a liar. All you do is keep things from going through. All you do is cause trouble. And who gets another community note? The White House.
Oh, shit.
So they're saying, Massey's right, you're lying. And then you have Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, and Bill Hagerty, a Republican from Tennessee, saying, A, you have to go through us if you want any money, and B, you will never get a dime if you want to send it to Iran.
Fucking
these are Republicans.
Like, I realize the system of checks and balances exists for a reason. Like, you need to, like, have checks and balances. It's self-explanatory. But, like, the idea that they have to rein him into this degree, and, like, thank God that they're available to even do that. But, like, why is it up to people who aren't even held to the highest standard? It's not even the highest office. It's like, you can't send funds to an enemy of the country.
No,
that shouldn't be their job to, like, what are we doing?
And what is interesting about this, I've seen a lot of people that I tend to respect try to give Trump a pass on this, which pisses me off. And, you know, even Ted Cruz, the president he's taking bad advice.
Oh, I'll say.
Like, it's coming from somewhere else, J.D. Vance, but he's taking the advice.
Does he have a fucking lawyer?
And my thought is, what fucking president even listens to their vice president? So there's all this stuff coming out.
Well, and it also sounds like, hey, Congress knows better than you. Why don't you ask somebody if this has, like, constitutional or legal merit, what you're trying to do?
Yeah, so there's all this stuff coming out about a possible money trail between, okay, so I should put it this way, there's an opposition group to the Iranian regime. There's two of them. There's the Shah and his family and everybody who supports them. But there's also a terrorist group that is a different, you know, a different brand that is based right now in Albania, which I have some questions about, like why the fuck that is.
I went to high school with some of those guys.
And I dated one.
Yeah,
and basically, the paper trail is looking pretty bad for the Trump family. It seems as
What is this, like, rival organization's name?
I'm glad you asked, Hannah, because I was reading about it today. MEK, or the People's Mojahedin Organization of Iran. And they are designated a terrorist group.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, they're, like, basing themselves in Albania, but it's probably like how the Shah can't go back right now either.
Like an exile situation?
Yeah, so basically they came up in 1965, but they didn't take control during the revolution.
Vintage terrorism.
They lost. Well, even somebody who's a Trump friendly, like Laura Loomer, is pointing out that there may be some money exchanged, that Trump might be backing this group to take over if this regime falls, instead of the Shah, which would be really sad because, like, the Shah's family, they basically say, wouldn't it be nice if Americans were welcomed instead of Iranians saying death to America? Like, they want to be friends. Like, it's a Western culture. But instead, there seemed to be, like, Don Jr., Trump might be being paid off by this group.
And I'm sorry, I'm going to slip on my everyman shoes here because they fit. Explain it to me again. So the supposed alleged motive would be to let the current Iranian regime fall so that these MEK people can come in and take it over. But how does giving the current regime $300 billion advance that?
Here's what I think is possible.
Okay.
I think Trump, because he is this negotiator, let's just say, hypothetically, because I don't have all the evidence for this and I'm not...
Yeah, it's tinfoil hat time.
Yeah. Let's just say that he's playing both sides to see who will give him more money.
Okay.
And we have to consider that the current regime is a proxy of both Russia and China. But at the same time, if this other terrorist group is a proxy of, say, Qatar, you might just be playing everybody against each other to see who can give you the most, or maybe even take a little from everybody and see how it plays out. But in any case, some of the behavior of Trump and specifically Vance is very concerning to me as a freedom-loving American who hates terrorism.
And again, I wear the everyman shoes because they fit. I don't know much to substantiate this, but like to quote the guy from Euphoria, like, there's something about Vance that gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like, yeah. I don't know what it is about him, but his weird Ozempic face and stuff now, it's like, you seem so slimy and so prone to advancing your own interests over the health of not only just the people around you, but the country at large. Like, I don't trust that guy.
Well, there's a few different concerns with Vance that have me thinking, Hannah, my love, you are onto something. One,
it couldn't possibly be that you've already expressed this feeling, right?
Well, true, but one, if you read his book or watch the terrible movie,
it was so bad.
So bad. I don't know. I don't understand why this guy's popular. He sucks in every possible way. He's a Democrat.
Sure.
If a Democrat, a socialist, he's not a conservative. He didn't belong, just like Trump, anywhere near a Republican platform. That's the first problem that we've talked about before. The second problem is his relationship with Tucker Carlson, who, it came out today, takes large sums of money, actually $180,000 a month.
A month.
From Qatar, which is declared. And they're BFFs. The third thing is that he hired and brought into the White House Tucker Carlson's son, who became then a White House insider who was later fired. And then...
Because he has no credentials other than being a fuck-up son.
Yeah, with terrible teeth. He looks bulimic and fat at the same time. It's a really strange...
Usually bulimic girls do.
Combination. Whoa, shots fired. But the fourth thing was yesterday or the day before, there was a press conference in which he finger-wagged the entire time at Israel.
Vance did? Or?
Yes, Vance. As the vice president, he basically said, instead of, maybe you should probably work on your relationship with the only country in the world who doesn't hate you. Maybe you should do what we say and think about our interests for a change. And it was just like, these people in Bibi's administration are bad-mouthing us, and it was all... That was bullshit. I looked into it, by the way. So the guy just scolded and scolded. And Brian Kilmeade, who I have said some bad things about in the past, is a Fox News morning show guy. But occasionally he's right and I like him. He said, I would love to see Vance talk to Iran this way instead of talking to our greatest ally in the Middle East.
Yeah, how about you give a tongue lashing to your actual enemy who has bombed and killed your people instead of an ally?
And I was a little bit worried. Hannah knows how much I love Ben Shapiro. I was a little bit worried about Ben Shapiro because I saw kind of more of the same. Like, Vance is influencing Trump, kind of giving him a pass at first. And then last night, after everything that's been going on, he put out a video. Trump is bowing to China. He's bowing to Iran in this deal. And I was proud of him for just, he didn't support Trump going into the primaries. And I was proud of him for just speaking the truth, because that's what we all should do. And he has a much bigger platform than you and I.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a wild one. And then at the same time that all of this is going on, Hannah, what do we hear from Trump? A news reporter asks you don't want Israel to bomb Lebanon, but if they were to go unilaterally after Iran, what would you do? And he said, I'd support them fully.
It's just like, it makes no fucking sense.
Exactly.
Pick a fucking narrative.
He's hopping from one foot to the other, and I think he's just trying to get what he can out of people. And at the same time, again, that all of this happens, these 4 IDF soldiers are killed because Hezbollah fires first. Of course, Israel returns fire. And then Iran, once again, closes the strait. And then Trump's like, we're done. Like, we're going to let these 60 days play out, but they're getting no money. I'm done with this.
And this is what, like, weeks after Netanyahu's trying to divest himself from our country anyway. Like, oh, don't threaten him with a good time.
Exactly. And so tomorrow, I bet you the deal will be back on. Like, there's no stability.
It got to the point, Ash, where, and I think I told you this in person, where, like, I have, again, those news apps on my phone.
Yeah.
And, like, I wear my smartwatch at work because I use it a lot for timers and shit like that. Mm-hmm. But it was, like, every 10 to 15 minutes, it felt like I was getting a notification about the deal's on, the deal's off. The strait is open, the strait is closed. We're bombing, we're in peace talks. Trump is optimistic, Trump is upset. And it's like, it's just white noise at this point. Like, it's overwhelmingly meaningless.
Yeah, and this is weird, but
I don't know why I expected anything else.
It reminds me of the movie The Devil's Advocate. If you haven't seen it, it's a really good film starring Al Pacino, Keanu Reeves, and Charlize Theron. And there's a scene in it that if God is real and is Jesus for some reason, I think Al Pacino's going to hell. But I almost think it's worth it. But he's talking about, like, God in this scene, but the way that MAGA treats Trump, let's just say for sake of argument that God is Trump in this scenario, because that's how they treat him anyway. And he says, like, you're hopping from one foot to the next, and he's laughing his sick fucking ass off.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about the news cycle lately.
Yes.
I'm trying not to be invested in any of it, because after the first 24 hours... I was like, this guy's unhinged. Nothing's going to happen until it does. Like, I'm going to try not to invest.
My whole life kind of felt like this about the news and about politics in general and, like, world diplomacy, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And I've used this term before, it's a bad boyfriend. And it keeps you hopping on one foot to the next, and you're hoping for one thing, but you always get the other. And it's this constant game of no answers. And I think in the end, like, the whole reason that we do this podcast, I should speak for myself and say the whole reason I agreed to do this with you is because, like, even though it's like Sisyphus rolling a rock uphill, you're never going to get the answer. You're never going to get the good boyfriend you're looking for. You still need to do the good work of paying attention. Yeah. Even though it will always disappoint you, it will always upset you. Like, it's worth discussing and it's worth paying attention to what's happening around you. Even though it doesn't add up to a whole lot, it means something beneath the surface. And I've had some tequila tonight and I don't really know where that was going, but I think, like, generally it's frustrating. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel like it's responsible to look away. I can't expect an answer. I can't expect a clear decision. I can't expect any resolution to this storyline. But it will teach me about the people who are in charge. And it will teach me to be careful and to pay attention.
Well, and I think what's interesting, too, about what Hannah's saying, like, we're paying attention and also, like, you know, we've said it many times, never trust a politician.
Trust no bitch.
That when Trump bombed Iran, I was shocked, honestly. I kept saying on this podcast that I didn't think he'd do it at all.
We were overwhelmed with happiness because it was like, oh my God, a definitive action.
And it was one of those things where my red flags were going up. I thought he was compromised already. And I still think I might have been right about that, but I was...
Well, you probably were.
But I was pleasantly surprised that he did anything at all. Mm-hmm. And now it turns out he might have had a reason for doing that maybe he's backing another opposition party. You have no idea what's going on behind the scenes. But all I know for sure is that I don't trust him and I don't trust Vance.
And it's good to have a healthy distrust of your government. I mean, that's what
You
our
should.
nation is founded on.
That's real patriotism. No matter what these Trump sycophants tell you, you should hate and distrust government. That's what this country was born out of. You love your country. You hate your government. And another thing, all of these people who tell us that we have to be loyal to Trump or like we have TDS or whatever, I think I am able to give Trump credit sometimes when he does the right thing, when he has good ideas, like you can carry your mortgage payments with you and all of these things that will probably never come to fruition but sound good, like Doge. What happened there, man?
Ugh.
All that to say, when these people accuse me because I support Israel and I want Israel to topple the government in Iran and do whatever the hell they'd have to do to take care of Hezbollah, I don't think I'm being Israel first. I think I'm being Western civilization, common sense, and America first, while everybody else is being Trump first. And Trump is Trump first every day, all day.
Yeah, Trump first is, and I think that's one theme that I can point to that has carried out to be true from my journey from being a fairly far left to where I am today, which I would call like moderate right or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't even know. But that's one thing that has stayed true. I remember being on the left when the January 6th riots or whatever you want to call it happened. Like
Gay shenanigans.
The gay shenanigans of January 20...
Happy Pride.
Whatever that was. I remembered and I took note that the people, at least from my perspective on the left, what I was being told, the people who were instigating it all and doing like some of the worst stuff and like storming the Capitol, they weren't raising American flags. They were raising Trump flags. And that was something that bothered me immensely at the time. And that same feeling I had then on the left is the exact same feeling I have today when I look at a situation like this. It's not America first. It's not make America great again. It's restore the Trump name, restore my family fortune, put me in the history books. And that's all it is. And everyone else be damned on my way up.
And what's interesting about Trump, Biden, and Obama, I think, is that they seem to be more concerned with enriching themselves than they were about their legacy. Mm-hmm. I think if I were president, it would be my goal to be the best president ever and have a great legacy no matter what I left with.
That's a big shift that we've talked about on here before, where it used to be about like having pride in the job and like I want to be the best person in this job that's ever been and go down in history like Lincoln did or you know, any of the greats that you might want to put out there. It used to be like, I want fame for my proficiency in office. Mm-hmm. And I don't know exactly when it changed. You probably would have a better idea than I would, but there became a shift where it was less about doing the job to excellency and it shifted to whatever you want to say, like advancing your own wealth and your own position.
Yeah.
No matter what it looked like on your resume, no matter how bad your career looked, it was your name first.
Yeah, and it's kind of scary knowing that it used to be like because Congress they had the power of the purse, you kind of expect them to be skimming.
Yeah.
They have access to the money. But now everybody's skimming all the time.
And not just skimming, like gouging, like scooping, armloads.
Yeah, Milton Friedman used to say that he loved government waste because if government money was applied to whatever they wanted to apply it to, it would be far more dangerous than if people were just stealing it. But now they're stealing it in such large amounts. They're not even trying to balance a budget anymore. They're just ripping us off.
And they're not trying to hide it anymore either. And I feel like there's a boldness and a brass to it that is like, it feels like a beginning of a very messy time.
Yeah.
That I'm not sure ever really... I feel like once you start that tipping point, it's like a domino row. Like once that first one falls, I'm not sure that they ever all stand up again.
No, and realizing, like, I couldn't be sure of the last president who didn't commit treason. Like, I was trying to think backward and not really being sure of any of it. And I thought, you know what? Make tarring and feathering great again. Because the minute that government stop being afraid of us is the minute they take advantage of us, and they don't stop. So it's people have to take control again, or, you know, we might already be to the place where we'll never get it back.
I think we are. Like, sadly, I don't think, you know, when they take a centimeter, they never, ever give it back.
Yeah.
And maybe because it's America, I should have said inch, but the premise remains, like, once that little inch of freedom is given up, you never, ever get it back.
And a sidebar, Hannah bought me a shirt that has George Washington on a tank that says, "What the fuck is a kilometer?"
I'm pretty sure he's holding, like, an AR or something, too, right? Like,
yes.
Like, there's other anachronisms in there, too. He almost wore it to a 5K that we did for a fundraiser for veterans. And I was like, they would love this shirt, but I think it's a family event.
Yeah,
so.
and we were a sponsor, and that was the only thing I cared about. If it had been, like, us just donating and kids were there, I'd been like, gotta learn someday.
Kids don't know what the fuck a kilometer is anyway. They would be like, what the fuck is a kilometer?
Her shirt says the fuck word. All right.
Good for you, Johnny. You can read.
Well, speaking of Johnny, Johnny maybe can't read, but he will someday grow up to smoke marijuana.
Johnny is acquainted with Mary Jane.
Good news from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court just sided with a challenger to a law banning drug users from possessing firearms.
I feel like we talked about this off air, and I'm still a little fuzzy on it, because, like, marijuana, no matter what state you guys live in, if you live in a state where it's, like, legal or not, it is still a federal crime.
Sure, but it sounds like this is in the state of Tejas, and this fella had cocaine and marijuana, but in very, very, very small amounts, so not felony type stuff, and was then barred from owning a firearm, which he and our U.S. Supreme Court decided was unfair. And I think they have a good point. Gorsuch wrote the opinion, and it was a unanimous decision. Everyone agreed that you gotta compare marijuana, which is what he said he smoked regularly, every other day, to other substances. And if there's nothing in the use of these substances that signals that this person is any kind of danger to himself or others, and he's not a felon, why the hell should you stop him from owning a firearm? And in states like Michigan, where smoking is legal, you're probably just going to be a really mellow-ass gun owner.
I have so many questions that are besides the point. Like, how much cocaine am I allowed to have?
I want all the cocaine. I'll be honest, I want coke. I want it.
Yeah, asking for a friend how much is not enough to be charged, and also asking for a friend how much does it cost. Asking for myself, why the fuck every other day? What do you have, like, do you have your kids every other day?
Because he was bullshitting. He smokes all day.
Well, it makes
day.
me think that was probably just like a turn of phrase, like,
I don't know, like every other day.
Yeah, like, but then it was reported in such a, like, a matter of fact, like, he smokes every other day.
I love the specificity of it, I had to say.
It's so bizarre. But yeah, like, so when we talked about it before, like, while we were getting ready for this show, I had a lot of questions. I think, Ash, frankly, you were getting frustrated with me, but, like, it just, like, the finer points did not make sense. But it seems like they were invoking, like, a really old law. Like, basically, if you had a reputation as, like, the town drunkard.
Yes.
Or, like, people kind of knew, like, colloquially that you had a substance problem, that you could be banned from owning guns. Mm-hmm. And because that type of law based on, like, personal relationship and bias and gossip was outdated, that's why this is a thing, right? Like, they were trying to hold him to this, like, really old, like, Mayberry type standard where he didn't have any official crimes on his record.
Yeah.
And so just because he admitted that he smoked marijuana, even though he was never convicted on a felony level of marijuana use or possession, that sort of reputation amongst townsfolk
Yeah.
of being a pothead is not enough to bar you from having a gun, which honestly, once you like suss out these details, seems like a no-brainer.
And to tell you the truth, anything like this or like a red flag law, to me, that's just pre-crime shit.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be able to do that. And any quote-unquote conservative, Donald Trump included, who supports red flag laws is not a conservative and should not get your vote. Just saying. So there are plenty of people, including Kim Bondi, who's now fired. She was out of Florida, support this kind of thing. And
support what,
like red flag laws and all this. It's like, I don't trust you, Phyllis. We don't do that.
I feel like there's a way to sort of like vet people and like assess risk, but either you have the right of a fair trial and you know, like fair convictions or not, or you don't.
Shall not be infringed. You are spreading poo-poo on the walls. I say you can have a gun.
You were spreading poo-poo on the walls?
Yeah, like, if you haven't done anything wrong yet, give him a gun. I don't care. Honestly.
Spread your poop, I guess.
Yeah. Just be nice to the gun. It's only there to help you. And speaking of crazy people with guns, let's talk about the UFC Freedom 250 match plot last weekend.
Pew, pew, pew.
Oh boy. Where to begin? So, Trump thought it'd be a great idea to have this UFC match on the lawn of the White House, which is fine.
And that's a great... Well, is it though? That's a great first sentence. Trump thought it would be fine to have a UFC event on the White House lawn. What? The fuck?
If they played baseball on the White House lawn, they might knock out a window or something. So UFC, they're just punching each other.
If they played baseball on the front lawn, I would still say, what the fuck? Do you have to have sports here on the lawn?
As long as it's not FIFA, because this is America.
To quote my wife, soccer's gayer than I am.
It's true. But anyway, it's a weird idea, sure. There should be a lot of security, and apparently there was, because the FBI foiled a terrorist plot.
Dun, dun, dun. Who's surprised?
There were 29 people total involved in...
29?
Excuse me. 29 plotters who were not arrested and 5 people who were. So that's a lot of people.
I commend them for being able to coordinate 29 people. I mean, like, when was the last time you saw a classroom that well organized?
Apparently, if only 5 of them were arrested, maybe they weren't that great at coordinating.
They were just, like lurking in the chat room.
They were just like, that sounds good. Boom, boom, boom. So these guys were talking on a Signal chat, and apparently the ringleader, named Abraham Alvarez, was an illegal immigrant from Mexico. He actually stayed on after his B2 visitor visa expired in December of 2001.
Only 25 years, guys.
And in 2014, Obama granted him a deferred action for childhood arrivals, which is why he was still in the country.
I haven't seen legal residency for 25 years.
There's a slew of white folks that he was able to wrangle in with him, including Tyson Proper, who looks 45 but is only 19.
Oh, is that the garden gnome child?
Yes.
Yeah,
look him up.
Yeah, he's a weird looking person, man. It doesn't make you a bad person, but this guy's a bad person and he looks bizarre.
Yeah, he's a strange one. He looks like a pedophile, had sex with the garden gnome, as Hannah so eloquently put it.
Nothing if not classy, babe.
So, all that said, their plot was basically this. They wanted to strap a bunch of explosives to drones and have these explosives fly into buildings all around this event, forcing people to run. And when they ran, they would run directly into sniper fire.
I do think, I mean, obviously it's a dark plot. Like, all humor aside, this is dark and scary. But I think there's like a real sinister edge to the idea that they're corralling them and like herding them like a war tactic, like herding them into a trap.
Like some sort of school shooting scenario
pretty
where they pull the
dark.
fire alarm and then like shoot people outside.
Yeah.
And all that said, these were just fans that want to watch a UFC match, UFC fighters, and a lot of service members. So, like, what's going on here? Like what's behind all of this? And why would a bunch of Americans get themselves involved in a plot like this?
Well, you brought up the parallel with this in like a school shooter. I think it's like a similar situation. Like, you're mad at the world. You don't have a clear reason for why you're dissatisfied with your life. So you decide to target pretty much anyone that you think like could make you feel better about yourself. I don't think the scary answer is I don't think much actually ties into that. It's just sort of like, I look like an overgrown rapist garden gnome at 19 years old, and I was able to influence 29 people to not report me at the very least. Well, I don't think the target has much to do with the irrational, petulant anger.
And I gotta say, I don't know what pisses me off more. Somebody who entered the country illegally, who, if he hates it so much, could just get the fuck out. Or a 19-year-old who spends his graduation money on weapons to hurt other people, when if he doesn't like it here, he could just use his graduation money to get the fuck out.
Yeah, he did say he used his graduation money for it, which is like, cool, so you graduated. So you had something going for you, even if you look the way you look.
So you graduated from high school at 19 with big plans to hurt people. That's all you had.
Yeah, it's just sad. I mean, I don't have the highest opinion in the world of like UFC fans, but I don't think that they're out to hurt anybody.
And you wouldn't want them being hurt.
Yeah. I mean, it just, like anything, any kind of story about like homegrown terrorism like this is just, it's just a waste. It's a shame.
And I think it shows what's going on, this is not meant to be a blanketed statement, but that young men who are, like, if you watch DTF St. Louis, just men in general, might be feeling very like isolated and lonely. And if you were you have some guy who's a little bit older than you online paying attention to you, it might be enough just to rope a certain personality type into a plot like this. Like Hannah said, 29 people.
Yeah, I mean, if it was anything else, we would call it impressive, to be honest. Like I said, you can't generally get a workplace to be this coordinated.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy how much is going on. Like, we just, in our area, just had another FBI raid of a house, and it's just like, more and more it feels like the world is going crazy around us, but we do have a 24-hour media cycle.
Yeah, and I think generally the internet has made the world very tiny, and we're all bumping elbows with each other. The classic example is like incels on Reddit, and all of a sudden they found not just a community of people who feel like them and who have similar anger towards certain groups. There's all these tiny little clusters, and they're all in the same room together, and so it's hundreds of thousands of people who think like you, and that gives you that boldness to make horrible, hurtful decisions that I just don't think that they used to have, if only because they didn't realize each other existed before.
And the echo,
does that make sense?
Echo chambers make people believe that everybody thinks like them, and I think that was really apparent in the Tom Massey loss in Kentucky. I got on Twitter, and Tom Massey's all over Twitter now. He's all over media. I think he's probably going to be a resident of Podcastistan very soon. And he's hearing everywhere that everybody's on your side, everybody hates AIPAC, and I'm sure he thought I'm definitely going to win this. And he didn't. And the lady in California who is like saying, let's like put Zionists in concentration camps. She ate it. So it's like, just because you're reading something online and you're hearing something in your echo chamber that everybody agrees with you, why wouldn't they in your little tiny world?
In, typical fashion for my like unresearched opinion here, I remember hearing a few years ago that like some like phenomenon of the internet and the way we interact with each other now is that like in social media and stuff especially is that the human mind has not evolved fast enough to understand some of the numbers that we interact with people in anymore. Like, you can't fathom what it means to have 100 million people like your photo.
Yeah.
There's no way for our animal brains to kind of comprehend how we interact with the world on the scale that we do. And so I think because of that, like, you're in an echo chamber, you're in your room, and it does have like maybe hundreds of thousands of people in it. But your brain doesn't understand that size. It understands a room. Yeah. And so you think you're in a room of people who agree with you and are just like you, and you see that number and you think it must mean the whole world agrees with you. Yeah. Because this number is crazy high, but you don't understand how big the world is. And it messes with people, and we see it. I mean, it's not even like that interesting of a concept anymore. We see it all the time.
I think it works both ways too. Like, Hannah points this out, and I feel like I've seen it in just the past few weeks. There, probably 3 weeks ago, I was on Twitter, and like, I love Twitter because it's like part of where I get my news from a bunch of different sources. But the chatter on Twitter was very scary for me. Like, people were nasty and threatening, and I thought, like, is this what it's like now? Is this the whole world? Does everybody, like, hate who I am and what I'm about? But then, over, like, 3 weeks, I got a coalition of like-minded people following me, and we were all following each other, and it's probably, Hannah, like, only about 20 people. But I saw the switch. And I saw, like, I have this little community. I understand that's what it is, though. There's, like, a little community that if somebody comes after you, they'll be like, well, listen to you. Look at you. And it's like, it makes you feel like you have friends, even though there's lots of bullies out there.
Yeah, just like DTF St. Louis. Like, you need those people to come up to you and say, hey, those people are assholes.
Yeah, you're a jerk. You know, like my friend is cool. Like, this is my friend. And I feel like I got enough of the balance where I can see both of the sides and know what they are. But not everybody has that experience. So not everybody...
I think most people don't.
Yeah. Like, not everybody gets the...
It's very black and white, right? Like, you either get an overwhelmingly positive experience and you think it's the whole world, like Tom Massey, or you get an overwhelmingly negative experience and you think it's the whole world.
Yeah. So I really did feel like it was the whole world for a second.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I got a little outside perspective, to Hannah's point, to just understand that it's not the whole world either way. Yeah. You know, to give me perspective.
The world is enormous in a way that we can't understand, and that the internet evolution has not prepared us to understand.
Yeah, and you might feel like X is the whole world or whatever, but how many people, like, obviously people in Kentucky aren't on X, and they just went out and voted, and they spoke their piece that way. So, like, there's lots of people.
I'm not on X. Yeah. And I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, I can guess what the subject matter was, but I'm sure I was on your side on it. And you didn't get to hear my voice on there.
Exactly. She makes a good point. And I felt comforted by the voters in Kentucky, by the voters in California. I hope that in the future I will feel comforted by what the voters decide in Maine. And we'll go from there. Anyway, thanks for joining us. I know it's been a crazy week. We have felt all over the place, just as all of this information trickling out has been...
Oh, it's been frustrating to see, like, up and down and left and right, and, like, nothing is permanent, nothing makes any sense. But,
I hope it will soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. The fact remains we made it through a week of this, and you know, we'll make it through another one if we have to.
Trucking.
Yeah, we'll keep going.
Well, thank you for joining us for our 36th episode.
And Margot's birthday, and to each and every one of you, a very Merry Juneteenth.
God bless us, everyone.
Everyone.